some people can't tell the difference between what's real and what's social media made.
Ooh, it's a lot of that, man. Because I tell people all the time, like, bro, your favorite rapper probably don't have money like you think you do. A lot of these rappers are driving their manager cars, wearing their manager chains, watches, all that stuff. That's why I said, bro, I don't care about that stuff.
Right.
Because I'm not here to put on a show for y'all. I'm here to entertain. Right. I'm not here to. I'm not into facades. I'm just not. Mm-hmm. I'm not.
1, 2,
3, 4. For watching this episode of Conversations with Brent. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Hit the like button to receive notifications. And if you haven't checked out the Vitamin B's on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, check out Vitamin B's. A little something to get you going through the day. Now, if you need a vibe to get you going, I got the man for you. Nephew, what's happening?
What's going on, man? Thank you for having me.
Hey, appreciate you being here.
Problem.
See, we won't put your government name out there. We'll use your producer name. What's your producer name?
Well, hello everybody. I go by the name of SK808 or Escape for short, whichever one. But actually, I'm one of the guys. I really don't care if you call me by my government name.
Right.
It don't really bother me. But yeah, man, that's what I go by. So.
And I know why you picked SK808, but why'd you pick SK808?
Well, first of all, like the word, like just SK808 was a cool pun together. Because a lot of people don't know that I actually grew up skateboarding. You know yes. That. A lot of people don't know that culture has a big impact on just like who I am today, the things that I do, the way that I look at things, the creativity aspect. So there was that. And then, the 808 is the baseline of, modern music, hip hop,
right.
Art. Like it's the new baseline. So putting skate and 808 together to create SK808 in one word and everything, like it's cool. Most people usually don't understand or get it, or they might say it a little, different. But when I finally get to tell them, like, look, it's one word and they say it like that,
right?
They're like, that's actually cool. I'm like, yeah, man, yeah.
Hey, that creativity is not in music; it's in everything. So, where did the love of music come from? I know Pops is real big into music and everything.
I'll say music is one of those things that kind of chose me versus me choosing it.
Okay.
Because at a young age, like, Pops, both my mom too, like my mom can sing, she got rhythm, she loves. Yeah, my mom can actually sing. Like, she grew up in the church and everything, but that as well as my dad's love for music. Now, he might not have the knowledge that some people have about music, but man, he had stuff. Yeah. Like CDs, 45, like he had it all. So I just remember him always telling me the story when I'm 8 months old. Driving to my grandmother's house and he's playing me Coming Out Hard, NJG and 8-Ball. And it's actually scary because why do I remember it? I wasn't nothing but 8 months old, but like, why do I remember this like vividly? Right. Being in the back seat, hearing it. Like every time the song comes on or I see it, I literally, like the thought just comes right to me. But I would say that was the beginning because Pop said I was bobbing my head on a beat. He noticed, he stopped the music, and I stopped. He played it again and I went right back and I was like, that's not a natural ability that everybody just has. So even, at the age of like 2 years old, most people who are musically inclined, they grew up beating on pots and pans and stuff. Right. So I had pencils beating on cabinets. They didn't let me to the pots and the pans. Right. But I got like a little bongo set for Christmas one year and they just noticed like I really had rhythm. Mm-hmm. So then on like 4 or 5 years old, I got the sticks and the pad. Drumline came out. Oh, and and I didn't know what was going on like in my head. Like it just flowed. Like hearing it, playing it back. Right. Being able to do it exactly how to do like all the rudiments for the most part, everything like the skill level was just there early. Even when I couldn't read music, I didn't really learn to read music till like fluently.
So did Nick Cannon steal your stilo? He played you? Played natural?
I guess. I guess so, but yeah, like I it's just one of those things that just became a part of me. So now it lives in everything that I do. Like I eat, sleep, breathe it. And like I can't help it. I don't really see myself doing anything else. Right. I see it, if I do anything else, I see it being funded or being put together because of my music. Right. You know what I'm saying? In terms of it becoming another creative outlet that's tied to my music. It's just in me, not only one of those type of things. So I can't really describe it. It's just a natural feeling. Like even when I'm out and I hear stuff, like I can't help but bob my head. I might not even think about it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I might be dead silent. So I'm like, what you think about? I'm not thinking about anything. I'm actually just my body just processes rhythm and music. I don't know how to describe it. It's just always been like that. But you've literally seen it.
Oh yeah.
From
because I think about, and I know they've taken it down, but was it Michael Jackson's PYT?
I think it's still there.
Is
and
it?
That was actually my first drum cover. Because I still play that for people when they say like, "Oh, you really play drums?" Like a lot of people don't know that. And
well, if I can't find it, you may have to send it to me so we can put a clip in here.
But I actually did a gig recently where it's an artist named All Star JR from Detroit signed to Empire Records, and he had a release party for his album, and they asked me to be a part of the band to play the music live as listening party. And I said, of course, I couldn't wait.
Right.
I still got everything. I couldn't wait, so we did it. But my real musical instinct kicked in because everybody's a producer, but everybody's not a musician.
Right.
So they're playing the songs, you know what I'm saying? Like just what they hear, I'm interpreting the songs.
Okay.
Because I see live arrangements, I hear live. I've come from it, I've done it, I've toured, I've done all of that stuff.
Right.
So, man, the show comes together, man. The sound guys come, they set up the stage. I'm telling them what to do. Put it over here. Put the rhythm section over here. The melodic section over here, and the singer like and everybody just embraces it. It was like, oh, this like he really does it. Like they can just tell. It wasn't me trying to step on anybody's toes, but I was like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And we only had 2-3 days to do it, so it's a natural thing.
So can you make me a star with auto-tune?
Viral, whatever.
Right.
You can do it.
Nah, I'll stick to talking and let you all stick to music.
But I could have you do something like how Morgan Freeman did with 21 Savage and Metro Boomin's Savage Mode too. Like he narrated the whole album and stuff. I was like, that would actually be great. Like with some storytelling stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I wanted to implement that as something. So I'm glad you said that because now I can put my idea in a direction versus it just being in the air type of thing.
Well, and like you said, we've known each other since you were 2nd, 3rd grade.
Yep.
You came up through Men of Excellence
Mm-hmm.
at North Atlanta, and
did.
just us hanging out and talking.
Sure did.
I love to talk. I love to share stories. But I think the thing I've always liked about you is that you're kind-hearted. You've never been a mean, spiteful person, and even as we watched you rise in the music industry, you still have that subtleness about you where you don't get too big-headed or anything. Because one thing that bothers me, and to each his own, people make it, first thing they do, they start changing the chains, the rings, and this and that. And it's like, I heard somebody say, are you in it for the love of it or the rewards of it? And I can honestly say you're in it for the love of it. Because anybody that watches your lives, it could be 1 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, and you're in the studio grinding.
Right. I think the main thing for me was like, the older that I got, my family, they did everything they could to provide and make sure we had what we needed.
Right.
Not gonna say like, oh, we didn't get what we wanted, but we didn't get everything we wanted.
Right.
But what we needed was more important. So the older I got, the more I started to appreciate that, while also seeing the reality of what the world was like. Cause I'm not gonna say my parents like sheltered me to an extent, because it's like neither of them are from Atlanta.
Right.
I'm really from Atlanta, so to have a different type of experience and a different outlook at life from what they see. And, my parents are a little older too.
Right.
So it's just like, wow, like I tell people I don't come from struggle, I come from hustle. Like I didn't have it super easy growing up, but I didn't have it bad. But I know tomorrow it can all be gone.
Yeah.
I can lose it all tomorrow. So if you get there and you act like you're better than everybody, you act like your stuff don't stink and everything, then God will take that away from you. I've seen it happen. I've seen people go from here to nothing.
Right.
You feel me? Like I've been in the positions to where I can do the things that the guys do. Go get a $20,000 chain. Go buy a new a Lamborghini. Go buy a Porsche. Lease it or whatever.
Right.
I've been in those positions, but I didn't see that for me at that moment, because I was just like, what am I doing it for? My mom still work a job.
Yeah.
My dad's an entrepreneur, but he works his behind off. Like they still break their backs.
Yeah.
And not fully just for me, but just for themselves. So I was like, like if I'm in it to flash and show everybody that I got it, then God will take that away from me. I just kept that in the back of my head, and I try to keep that kind of company around me too, because the industry will fool you. It's a lot of dog eat dog stuff going on. It's a lot of just clown stuff going on. But I try not to get too caught up in it, because we have no choice but to deal with it.
Right. I heard something, and I'm not on social media a lot. I post and I scroll a bit, but Simone B, she was talking about how.
Oh, you talking about B. Simone?
B. Simone, thank you.
Okay,
Excuse me for messing up your name, B. Simone.
Okay.
She talked about how she sold her car, and she hasn't bought another one. And when she finally made $1 million, she thought about getting a G-Wagon. And she thought about it, she's like, why? Why would I spend that?
Like a quarter, like 200,000, something like that? Yeah.
She said, why would I spend that much money on something that I'm hardly ever going to drive and park it in an apartment garage?
And it depreciates.
Yes, as soon as you drive it off the lot. So she said, I'm better off keeping that money, investing it, instead of going out and buying. And that's the thing I wish we, as a culture, would understand. Your money can work 24/7. We think we can grind 24/7, but your body will shut down and say, you think we're going to keep going, but we done.
And that's the lesson I learned too.
Did you? How'd you learn that one?
Man, just having it, doing everything I wanted to do, even though I still say like I made good decisions with the monies that I've had in terms of moving myself forward. But just like I was just telling Auntie, like, man, I should have took care of myself, because taking care of myself will set you up to move forward and also make your money work yourself versus spending it on things like, oh yeah, I bought equipment, I bought this and the third, and that's cool, but also do something to make sure that you're gonna be straight and do something that's gonna keep money in your pocket versus just, because they don't teach us about financial literacy. They don't really teach us about getting LLCs and business accounts and tax write-offs and stuff like that. I had to learn it the hard way.
Yeah. Now who's really good with money? Your pops.
Yeah, he a different breed.
Yeah.
He a different breed. He
I
got
look
different
at the way,
methods.
I look at the way he moves and financially and what he does and everything, and I'm always impressed that he's able to accomplish as much as he does. But I think that same mentality he has has been embedded in you, and you all are so much alike. I think sometimes as father and sons do, you butt heads because you all are so much alike.
Right.
But I think he doesn't realize how much you've taken from him to get to where you are.
Right.
And I think that's one thing we as parents, we want so much for our kids to be better than us.
Right.
Sometimes we forget that you are your own entity. You take our wisdom, you take our knowledge, but some things you just have to experience for yourself.
It also comes with how you all grew up too, though. Like my dad, he's one of the original Miami boys. They don't really like to talk about it because he didn't take the same route some of them took. They came to Atlanta, and I appreciate him for that.
Oh yeah.
Like even growing up and just meeting other people that are from Atlanta, that are in it, you know what I'm saying? And then like, oh, I know you down. How you know my dad? So, just learning all that. But it comes from how y'all were brought up, man. He's from Miami, born in the 60s.
Yeah. When
the Cubans came off the boat, the Miami riots, the blatant, and my dad, he's a light bright. Yeah. Some people don't even think he's black.
Yeah.
He had it hard. He really did. Single mom, my grandma, like sweetest lady in the world. Don't play at all. Like I understand now that I'm older, now that I've had time to think for myself and process everything. Like, man, he's just a different kind of person. And we always say, anyway, people from Florida, man, they a different breed.
Yeah, Florida is some of the strangest people I ever met.
Strangest, strong-minded, bullheaded, whatever. Like, it's a lot of that. Good people, too, though. It's still southern hospitality and stuff, but it's just different. It's more tropical. That's what I say.
Yeah.
But just all of that. But it comes from, man, like, the mentality that you all were given, like, when you all were being raised and everything. So now that the world is changing, it might be a little bit harder to adjust it, to understand or to see, like, the concept is there. Right. But the rules and laws and whatever, they're different now. So we got to approach it a little bit different and everything. So that's kind of probably where we butt heads sometimes. But usually we still come around, but I still learn things on my own, too. Yeah. And I'm trying to tell them, too. It's like, man, it don't work like that no more, Pop.
Yeah. So we know you do music. Who's some of the artists you work with that they may know? What upcoming projects do you have?
Wow, I'm honestly blessed to say I've worked with a little bit of everybody. Okay. Everything may not have come out yet, but in due time. Right. That's one thing my dad's always said: patience is a virtue. Let me rewind real quick. Yes. Back to about how you all were brought up. So I know, like, one thing my dad is, he's a provider. For sure. Yes. The thing that was embedded in black men growing up was be a provider, take care of your family, this and the third. And I'm not gonna say that narrative changed, but it kinda is. But I look at it a little bit different now because of how the climate of the world is. Right. So instead of being a provider, why not be a preserver? Because now we get so caught up in providing, we feel like that's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to care about your feelings. I don't have to care. I don't have to listen to you. I'm providing. That's it. Do as I say, And it's like, respectfully, yeah. But when I say preserve, one thing Pops always said was the first law of nature is self-preservation. So it's like, the word preserve is the root word. It stuck out. So I'm like, man, the first law of nature is self-preservation. What about just preserving, period? So if you took care of yourself and now you got a family, what are you preserving? Are you done preserving?
Right.
Or are you providing? So instead of, because I'm 25, I don't have no kids. I don't have a family. I'm young, I have my fun and everything, but now that I get older, I'm just like, I have friends that's having kids now. Friends that's got families and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm not 21 no more. I'm 25, I'm still young, but like, times are moving forward.
You start looking at life differently.
Yeah, and then the world, like I said, the world is moving a mile a minute now. In a negative sense and a positive sense, it's just crazy out here. So it's just like, man, when my family comes around, the one thing that I took from growing up was, be a provider, but I want to preserve my family too. So instead of strictly calling myself a provider, I want to be a preserver.
Right.
Preserve myself, preserve my family, preserve everything else that's going on around me, preserve the lessons. All of that, keep that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because the provider thing, even when the women talk about a man being a provider, it's like, we only good when we provide?
Right.
What about when we preserving? Does that make us more valuable than just providing and doing stuff? Because preserving is more than that.
Yeah. And
preserving goes deeper.
Yeah, I think like you said, a lot of times they want to deduce it down to, is he a good provider? But at some point, men were not allowed to show their emotions unless you had a strong father that said it's okay to show your emotions.
And it wasn't a lot of that.
And so now, like you said, not only has society changed, but we as men have changed. The roles in families have changed because you have so many women making more than men.
They out hustling us right now. I'm real, they are.
And it don't bother me because I tell people, if I'm trying to make all I'm making and my wife trying to make all she making, we work together, I don't care who bring in the most. We gonna do it.
And we happy.
Yeah. And I think we've lost that, one thing I would say I appreciate about you is that you're in a phase of retrospect. You're looking at where you are in life, where you started, but what you've learned in the difference between the two. And, I used to say all the time in Students of Excellence, two things. You show me a self-made man and I show you a man who didn't make much. And the hardest conversation you'll ever have is with the man in the mirror. I can tell anybody anything, but when I look at that man in the mirror, I can't lie because he knows the truth. He knows the thoughts. He knows the actions. He knows the manipulation. He knows all of it. And you cannot lie to that person. At all,
especially when you're going towards somewhere or going towards a position of being in a light.
Yeah.
Because, man, it's actually scary to me these days about how many black men are committing suicide.
Yeah.
Driving themselves crazy. My own peers, you know.
Yeah.
That hurt. Because I'm just like, what was wrong?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say we couldn't talk about it, but it feels like we could.
Well, we've been taught not to express. I've learned years ago, they said women do a few things that men don't. That's why women live longer.
Right.
Women will get it out. They will tell somebody. They'll cry. And then they'll release. And we internalize. And that stress will eat you up and drive you crazy.
I've never thought about it like that.
So we have to get to a point where we can share. Find a brother. One of my vitamin Bs, I talked about boxes. Somebody taught me years ago about boxes. I can't tell everybody everything because if I do, then they'll tell all the people and it may not be stuff I want out. But you got to have that one or two person that you can confide in that once it go in, it's like the Roach Motel. Go in, it don't come out.
Yeah.
It stays there. But
that's real trust right there.
Yeah. We get to the point where we feel like we got to tell everything and show everything. And then when it comes back, it can be devastating.
I used to keep a lot of things in growing up. Like my dad was like, man, when you turn 12, you stop talking to me. I was like, man, because I feel like I couldn't tell you nothing no more. Or certain things I couldn't relate to you on. Because, my dad's a car guy. He's a handy, easy, you know what I'm saying? Hand-to-hand type of guy. He builds everything. It's like, I have some of those skills too, but that's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
Now, granted, I'm not scared to go get dirty and go, fix stuff for myself, DIY stuff. I'm not scared to do it. And I might not want to do it. So I appreciate those lessons.
Yeah.
But because that's how you all's generation is, it's like when you see us do stuff and we just like, bro, we don't care about that, or we're not doing that. It's almost like y'all feel like it's a slap in the face or it's disrespect. It's like, it ain't disrespect. it's a different outlook because I'm trying to work so hard to where I don't have to lift a finger, as well as for my parents, for my family, for my people around, anybody. It's not just about me because I look at doing the music thing is bigger than me, as well as being bigger than me.
Right.
And that's a part of the reason I go so hard, and part of the reason I don't get too big headed. Because if God takes it all away, then who can I help?
Yeah.
Who can I? Because you reach back. Moving forward, you reach back and try to pull others through. You still have, because men of excellence, students are excellent. Because it started off as men of excellence, strictly just for the men. Then the school says something like, "Oh, what about students?" And it's like, you know what? We'll be open to it. You didn't say we're just not gonna do it. You say, you know, we'll make it that thing. And that benefited a lot of students because that made a thing, a platform or a space where students come talk, get assistance, even if it wasn't school related.
Right.
That type of stuff is important to me.
The reason we added Women of Excellence, when we started Men of Excellence, they started Diamonds and Pearls.
Right.
And it lasted, I don't even know if it lasted the whole school year. And the girls was like, well, it's not fair that you all have something and we don't. And so we let them come to one meeting. I think we made it, the first Wednesday we would include the women and then we would go back to men.
I think that was my senior year we did that.
Yeah.
Like, when it started, okay.
And then after that, there's like, well, we want to do something all the time. And so that's when we added Women of Excellence to Men of Excellence to create Students of Excellence. But I think, like you said, it goes back to that father figure. A lot of people don't come from broken homes, but maybe disconnected homes. Maybe the father works a lot. Maybe he travels a lot. And so they miss out on some of those lessons. So for me and Mr. Everhart, it was our way of giving back to be a present father for those who, and like you said, not that the fathers are bad or anything, but
not even father, just a male figure, period.
Yeah.
Because we don't, I'm not going to say we didn't have a lot of good role models growing up, but we didn't have a lot in my generation. But based off of what you all was seeing, like on the outside looking in, because, we know a little bit more in terms of what's going on in the present than you all might. Because it's our generation, but like outside looking in, I can see how y'all would be like, what? This is who y'all look up to? Why? This and the third. It's a lot of chaos going on out here. It's a lot of it. Yeah. And a lot of those same guys who used to be chaotic aren't chaotic anymore.
Right.
Or they come to the terms of healing themselves, like DMX. DMX is a prime example. He couldn't fully fix himself right away, but he tried in the end. He was a functioning, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say abuser because I don't know if he abused it. Right. But relapse after rehab, but he tried. And he had a realization like, man, I want to fix this with my son. I might be a little off, but I want him to know I love him, know I apologize. Daughter, I commend him for that.
Yeah. And I think being a father is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world.
There's no manual to being a parent, and that's what I'm realizing too. That's why I don't blame or get super upset when my parents about certain things, or about not knowing, or about not asking me how I feel about a certain situation or a conversation of like, you talking about you a lot, Pop. What about me? Or Mom, like, I understand how you feel. What about us? Yeah. There's no rule book to it, so I can't get upset with you for not doing it, even though that's basic human interaction. But the world is lost. Yeah.
And I think it's hard sometimes bridging the gaps because, like I said, when we were raised, we didn't have a lot to say. It was do what I say, that's it, no back talk, no discussion. But as you evolve, you try to give your kids a voice. So for me, last year, God told me rethink everything. Rethink how I raise my kids, rethink what the positions they in life now, rethink how I handle my relationships. Because there was a lot of useful information we got, but the application is different now. Yes. When you think about the Bible, Jesus told stories. If he just came out and said, do this, this, and this, most people wouldn't have got it. But if he put it in a story, the parable, now you're able to get some type of interpretation from it. And I think that's what this generation needs. You all look at people's lives, you look at their stories on Instagram and stuff, and you get some interpretation to help you put things in perspective for yourself. Right. The sad part of that is some people can't tell the difference between what's real and what's social media made.
Ooh, it's a lot of that, man. Because I tell people all the time, like, bro, your favorite rapper probably don't have money like you think you do. A lot of these rappers are driving their manager cars, wearing their manager chains, watches, all that stuff. That's why I said, bro, I don't care about that stuff. Right. Because I'm not here to put on a show for y'all. I'm here to entertain. Right. I'm not here to. I'm not into facades. I'm just not. I'm not. Even if you go look at my Instagram, like, oh, you don't really post like that. You post. You see me post when the work is done. Yeah. If ain't no work being done, or if I'm not, what's the point? I'm not about to go put on my man's chain for 500 likes just so a girl could. Man, I ain't never needed that.
Yeah.
If I couldn't get her, she not what I need.
Well, and you all got a lot of validation.
90% of the time, got her though. You know what I'm saying? So it comes with that though.
Yeah,
so,
you all got a lot of validation from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I think about is back in the day when they were really first starting to shoot videos and they had the briefcase of monies and the Bentleys. If you look, they didn't really sit on the Bentleys. They didn't really touch them because the car dealership guy was sitting right there. Mm-hmm. There was an armor guard waiting. So when that video shoot was over, he can take that money right back to the bank and all that. And people thought they had it going on, or the jeweler was waiting right there to check it in and make sure everything was good. So sometimes we get caught up in the trappings of life.
Right.
So as we get ready to wrap up music, what are you working on? I know we kind of talked about that. It's good. And I know you've worked with some people. So if you want to share who you worked with or what you worked on, just so people can find out, or if they can go to one of your social medias and hear some of your music.
Any social media, man, look me up. You that's a beautiful thing too, man. Like, man, my mom could Google her son. And it's not a mugshot. No offense to the people who have mugshots, no judgment, but like I'm thankful that never happened to me. And I done been through stuff too, but I'm just thankful. But man, I worked with Free Young Thug and YSL and everybody. I got to work on their last collective album, Slang Language 2, which actually became my first gold plat and Billboard #1 plat. 2022 or 2021, one of those. I can't. It was 2021.
You know what I just heard when you said that?
What?
Womp, 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 womp. Because I have no clue who you talking about. But some of them may
like
know.
That. They might know, but I mean, they definitely know now because of the RICO cases that's going on, unfortunately, and all the things that's going on around.
Okay.
But I work with YF and Lucci, the other guy who's a part of their beef, but they're the other RICO case and stuff like that. No Cap, Hood Rich Pablo One. I work with Future. I worked with Kanye West. I got to work with Donda before it came out.
Okay.
Man, the list goes on and on and on. I've just been blessed to be able to work with everybody and blessed with the talent that I'm versatile.
Right.
To be able to work with anybody. I got stuff in California. I got stuff in Florida. I got stuff in New York. I got stuff in London. In India. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm working on some Canadian stuff. Like, just some of everything all over the place, as well as my own projects. So I have my own producer projects that I put out. So I have Walk Down Music Volume 1. I've got what's the next one? I don't remember the name of the other EP that came right after that, but it's another EP. Then there's Skate Park, the project that I put out in August last year, and then I actually put out my own rap project called Floater. The EP I put it out on Black Friday in November, and the feedback I get from it is actually crazy. Because nowadays, you know, I was so stuck on just being a producer, but that like the game is just funny, man. So I was just like, you know, I'm not gonna hold my talents back when I know I can do everything.
Right.
I really feel like I'm in my Kanye going to the office playing Through the Wire every day phase. That's what I feel like, you know, because like I believe in myself. Right. And I have to make them believe in me. Not saying that they don't. Right. But you know, most people they say the producer to rapper gateway is sometimes is shady because they'll be like, oh, he trying to rap now. Nobody want to hear that. But like Kanye West is foolproof that it can be done.
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few.
Blueprint there, you know what I'm saying? Who else, man? What else? Instrumental album, Thank God for 808s. That was my first one. Okay. I released it in January last year, so Thank God for 808s 2 will be out next month. Oh, cool. So putting that out, that's going to be a real interesting project. It's going to be even cooler than the first one. Okay. And that actually ended up being my first, my most streamed project out of all of the projects. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, wow. A project with no words, 1:30 a piece, 9 tracks, none but maybe 13 minutes for the whole thing. Right. So how can they find some of your stuff? Every streaming platform. Every single one. You can type in SK808 on Spotify, SK808, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, Amazon Music, whatever. It's on any and everything. YouTube especially. My interviews. I need to get on TikTok. I need a more TikTok presence. But in all honesty, if I wasn't a producer, I wouldn't use social media. This is a dog-eat-dog world now. Stuff is fake. And I'll be seeing right through. I'll be there with people when they put on the sizes. Be like, I don't. So, but TikTok is a new social media presence that I'm working on, so stay tuned for that. But any other social media presence, I'm there. Well, good deal. Nephew, man, been a long time coming, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on, man. Listen, you know it's love for the family and everybody, but I thank you for everything that you've ever done. Because you didn't have to be that guy. You my real uncle. You ain't nowhere kin to me, but you my real uncle. Yeah. And can't nobody tell me different. Likewise. That's why you always gonna be nephew. Every time. Much love, man. Thank you, man. Hey, thank you all for tuning in. SK808.
And we're gonna try to find that cover of Michael Jackson because
I'm gonna send it to you. It's up there. It's
okay.
I'm gonna send it to you.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Well, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Conversations with Brent.
Don't miss it. I'm gonna find you if you do.